There are rooms in your house you have never seen in decades, but I bet you could draw them blindfolded. The creak of the stairs at night, the Sunday morning kitchen smell, that winter draft in the hallway. You feel those instantly. But what if I told you those memories actually never stayed in the past? What if the home you grew up in is still shaping your emotions, your sense of safety, even the kind of home you choose today, without you realizing it? Your comfort zones, your fears, the corners you gravitate toward, even the way you arrange your furniture, your childhood home is still behind all of it. Today I want to show you how those early spaces never stop influencing the ones you live in now. Hi everyone, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome first of all. My name is Lorenzo and I'm an Italian architect based in London and founder of Centioni Architects. Long before I studied buildings, I studied the corners of my childhood home, like we all do. As children, we don't just live in homes, we absorb them. And what we absorb becomes part of how we experience the world for the rest of our lives. In this video, we'll explore the invisible influence your childhood home has over your brain and your sense of safety, comfort, and space. Ready? Let's dive in. Number 1, the psychological imprinting of space, especially in children. Between the ages of 2 and 12, our brains are busy wiring up the systems that handle spatial and emotional memory. The hippocampus, the bit of the brain that helps us remember places and episodes, goes through a long, very plastic development in early and middle childhood, and this maturation is tightly linked to improvements in memory. Recent work shows that even 2-year-olds are already surprisingly good at remembering where things happen compared to when they happened, suggesting that spatial information has an early edge in the memory system. So when you are between 2 and 12, your brain is actually not just noticing rooms, it's actively training on them. It's not just what a room looked like, it's what it felt like to be inside it. The hippocampus doesn't store neutral floor plans, it stores objects in place, experiences. This corner, that door, that shadowy cupboard, while the amygdala tags those experiences with emotion: safe, exciting, tense, creepy. That hide-and-seek closet, it taught your nervous system what small enclosed spaces feel like in your body. It may be thrilling, it may be suffocating. That long hallway with the flickering light, that wasn't just a corridor. It became a learned association between a particular kind of space and a low-level sense of threat. Over time, these pairings of layout plus feelings solidify into what environmental psychologists call place attachment, emotional bonds to particular kinds of places that fold memories, sensation, and meanings together. Studies on children show that they form strong attachments not only to their homes, but also to tiny found places like a favorite hiding spot, alley, or path. Microenvironments that give them a sense of safety, ownership, or unease. Once those emotional maps are laid down, we start using them as shortcuts. Spaces like these are safe, spaces like that are lonely, corridors that look like that are creepy. Because the hippocampus remains highly plastic during childhood, experiences in these years are quite fundamental in shaping the internal template we later use to judge any room, home, flat, and hallway we walk into. Number 2, smell and sound stick deeper than images. Smell is often far more effective than sight at embedding memories, because the brain's wiring gives odor a first-class ticket into the emotional memory system. In this paper, the authors described how olfactory inputs bypass the usual relay route through the thalamus, which is used by vision or touch, and instead projects directly from the olfactory bulb to primitive brain regions, such as the amygdala and hippocampus, key centers for memory and emotion. This special neural shortcut means that a scent experienced, for example in a childhood home, doesn't first get processed as a neutral image and then later associated with a feeling. Instead, feeling and recognition are encoded together from the very moment you inhale. That's what neuroscientists refer to when they say smell is especially powerful for autobiographical olfactory memory. As a result, when you later return to a space that smells familiar, the scent can trigger a whole cascade of emotional memories. You don't just remember what the room looked like, you re-experience an emotional trace of how it felt. That's why entering a house that feels familiar often has nothing to do with how it looks. It's the smell or sometimes sound that reactivates those deep-rooted memory emotions. According to this paper, odor-evoked memories tend to be particularly emotional, vivid and long-lasting, often more so than visually evoked memories. Number 3. How early layouts shape your default comfort. Psychologist Paul Morgan proposes that the places we grew up in don't just leave memories. They create an internal working model of place that shapes how we feel in later environments. In his paper, Towards a Developmental Theory of Place Attachment, Morgan argues that repeated, emotionally charged experiences in childhood spaces are generalized into an unconscious template for what feels safe, soothing, or unsettling in a place. In this model, your childhood home isn't just a backdrop, it's your training ground for comfort. If you grew up in a house with lots of tiny rooms and tucked away corners, your internal model of home might be tied to enclosure and defined boundaries. As an adult, that can show up as craving cozy nooks, alcoves, or having furniture close around you. If instead you grew up in a very open, flowing layout, you might associate wide, continuous space with ease and freedom. Or if your childhood there felt emotionally exposed, with a subtle sense of vulnerability or loneliness. The key point in Morgan's framework is that it's the combination of layout and emotional experience that gets encoded. Morgan's interviews with adults about their childhood places suggest that these early spatial experiences solidify into relatively stable patterns of how we move through and settle into space. This helps explain why some people can only fall asleep if the bed is tucked into a corner, recreating a sense of being held and protected. Others feel uneasy unless they can see the door, echoing an early learned habit of monitoring entry points to feel in control. These are not random quirks, they are spatial habits built into that early internal working model of place. A quiet continuity between the rooms you grew up in and the way you inhabit your home today. Number 4. Cultural differences in what safe feels like. Safety isn't universal, it's culturally learned. In the US, safe often means openness, visibility, and personal territory, shaped by a culture that values autonomy. In Japan, safety is tied to flexibility, sliding boundaries, and the ability to reconfigure space, reflecting a tradition of multipurpose rooms and controlled privacy. In historic Italy, it can mean thick walls, acoustic separation, and closeness to family, grounded in centuries of stone construction and strong social networks. These patterns aren't just preferences, they become internalized comfort codes. So when someone raised in a culture walks into a home designed according to another, they might feel strangely off. Not because anything is wrong, but because the space violates their deeply learned sense of what protective, warm, or orderly should feel like. Architects wrestle with this invisible standard constantly. Every client of mine has an unspoken template, their emotional baseline on what home should be. This comes not from design school, but from childhood, comfort, and the spaces that shape them. Number 5. How architects use this knowledge. Architects design with memory and the body in mind, whether they say it aloud like me or not. If you want your house to feel inviting, you might quietly borrow the proportions of a familiar childhood kitchen, the counter height, the window placement, the sense of enclosure. If you want your hallway to feel warm instead of eerie, you break the long sightline, introduce gentle curves, soften the acoustics, or add small pockets of light. These moves don't just change the look of a space, they change the implicit emotional script that people follows in it. Great architecture isn't purely visual, it's physiological and psychological. It taps into the same systems of memory, emotions, and spatial awareness that shaped us in childhood. The best buildings speak a language that your body already knows. Even if your mind can't articulate why a room feels right, your nervous system recognizes it instantly, as if it's remembering something you once lived. Thanks for watching the video. If you still dream about your childhood bedroom or feel uneasy in a space that just doesn't feel right, that's not just nostalgia. That's your spatial memory doing exactly what it's designed to do. Your childhood home may be gone, but its layout, sounds, and patterns, they're still living inside of you. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments below and tell me, what do you remember most about your childhood home? I'd really love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Until the next one, ciao.